Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. Guys, it is Shade of the Month time, but I also have a new bundle. We are going to unbox, comparison swatch, put on all the things, as well as the new Shade of the Month, which is a very good one for September. So if you want to check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for being here. Okay, friends, I'm laughing because as I stopped that outro, my necklace fell off. I'm like, how did I wear this through the house and it not fall off? And then all of a sudden, as I was talking, it just unclasped. I have no idea. That's okay. Okay, friends, so I've got my full face done. Figured we'd save some time. I'm wearing all of my normal Seint Shades, lots of bronzer because I was feeling very fair this morning, and now I feel like I look very warm. It happens. So first, let me just show you what the shade of the month is for September. It is Ring, which I'm excited about because I will be honest, we have nothing like this shade. In my opinion, nothing is that close. I will swatch the closest ones per usual, but we're gonna do an eyeshadow look with Ring today. But let's finish my face first and then we'll do eyes last. So I'm dying to unbox this, I'll be honest. I got this and I have not even swatched it yet. If you didn't hear, until September 8th, this foster care bundle will be available on the website, and it has 2 exclusive products in it, and one of them is this palette. So if you've been wanting a square, look how beautiful this square is. So for comparison, this is the one that was just released, the Crystal Palace. So you can kind of see this one's more of like, it's like shiny, but not shiny. It's more of like a mattified version, but it's kind of glows. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not like glossy like this one is. This one's very glossy. So this is Crystal Palace in the square. It is available individual purchase now, but this one is exclusive just to this foster care bundle for Atlanta. So it has like 2 different emblems, I guess you could say. One's matte, one's more foiled, but it's like almost like a clear foil. This is very bad descriptions, people, but it is very hard to show just how beautiful this palette is in real life. And supposedly, as of now, you cannot get it and it won't be available. It's only gonna be for this. So if you've been looking for this, I will be honest, I love this one. Always have. The Big Kahuna has always been my favorite palette of all time, but this is absolutely stunning. I think it's prettier in person than this one. It's unlike anything we've ever had. I'm fingers crossed that they do more like this. It's just really, really beautiful. I don't know. It's like almost like a watercolor. Anyway, I suck at descriptions today, but it's beautiful. So this palette will come with, I'll be honest, I bought an extra. So an exclusive lip and cheek, which I did buy also individually because I always need a backup of things that are limited edition. Who knows if they're gonna come back? Who knows, it might be years from now. But you get 2 shades, Angel Illuminator, which is a permanent collection, one of my very favorites. And if you have fair skin tone, one of my favorite on even my skin tone, but fair skin tone, it's like my go-to. I think it looks good on everybody. And Fig, this is the one I'm very excited. It's one of those that's like, looks really dark and scary in the tent. We're gonna do some comparison swatches of Fig and then put both of these bad boys. All right, so let's swatch it. So Fig is a semi-gloss, and it actually feels like a semi-gloss. Yes. Ooh, okay. My immediate thought is that it's a semi-gloss version of a Renaissance. Do you guys remember Renaissance? I believe it's permanent now. Don't quote me on that. Maybe not. But it's hard to keep up with the limited editions turn permanents. But it looks like Renaissance, which is one of my all-time favorite shades ever, ever, ever. But in a semi-gloss version, which the original Renaissance was very pigmented. I barely had to touch it, but I always had to top it with something to give the glow. So, oh my gosh. If you guys know me, I love warmth. And this is described from corporate as a warm plum, which I actually agree with. I feel like for sure. Okay, so any super pigmented shade like that can be really like blended out or worn very sheerly. This, I have a feeling this is gonna be like my new go-to for fall. So let's do some comparison swatches and then we'll put it on. I feel like the closest would be Renaissance. Right. So here is Renaissance. She's matte, and I'll be honest, she's a very dry matte. Like obviously I haven't been wearing this recently, but like, oh man, she's dry. She's very dry. And some of our lip and cheeks are just formulated like that, and you really have to kind of warm them up, especially if they've been in your compact through a season. I might have to melt her down before I actually want to like get her back out in the collection this fall. Okay, and when I really get down to the goods, you can see just how pigmented she is. All right, so here is Renaissance. And obviously you can build it up and get a very bold lip. I don't wear it that bold on the cheeks, obviously, but do you see how similar in tone? Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Just be due to the pigmentation, I feel like this one's pulling a little bit more red than Fig. And every time I say fig, I want to say figgy pudding. The other one I thought it looked similar to, which I actually just melted down, would be Royal, which is also one of my go-tos. Now, Royal is a gloss, so right away it's going to be a little bit more sheer. So kind of like the general rule of thumb with our lip and cheeks is that the mattes or satins are the most pigmented, and then it's going to be semi-gloss, and then it's going to be glosses. Sometimes are a little bit more sheer, but it can vary because we have a couple of glosses that are very pigmented. But do you see that? So I kind of dug in a few times, and you can kind of see you really have to build up something like Royal to get that kind of pigmentation. And what I hear the most is like, you're trying to get this color to really show up on your cheeks, so you're building it up, and then you kind of feel sticky or tacky. A shade like this doesn't even feel tacky at all. Obviously the mattes feel completely matte, and so that's kind of the benefit of a semi-gloss, is that you can get a little bit of that glow. It's not going to be as much sheen, but you can get a little bit of glow, and it doesn't feel tacky to the touch, and you can get that pigment. Otherwise, up until this point, we would have to get a similar look by using this as a base for pigment and then a little bit of Royal over it, and you could get probably a very similar look to this by itself. But I love having all of them. And then the last but not least, my other one that I really thought would be pretty close is Love Spell. And Love Spell is one of those that was permanent, then it went limited edition, and then we couldn't get it at all. And then they brought it back, and I love this one. This is Gilded Eyeshadow mixed with Desert Sunset Lip and Cheek. And so this one has always been like the best bronzy choice if you like a bronzy lip and cheek. So you can kind of see it's got some shimmer into it. So it's like very similar in tone. Definitely a gloss though, and has got that shimmer. So not everybody wants the shimmer on their cheeks. And you can kind of see how it's a little bit more brown, a little bit more mauve. This one's got a touch more red in it, but I consider both of them warm. So next to each other, I'll be honest, you really cannot tell what this looks like in the 10. It's kind of like look black in the 10, and you can't really see the true undertone. And since I know I'll get asked, we'll also go over Cherry, which is probably another close one. This one has more purple in it. It's more of a berry undertone. So this one is much more mauve plum. And you can see how this one is going to be warmer because it's got less purple, a little bit more red. Are those not so pretty? Is anyone else itching for fall weather? I thought we were getting close here in the Midwest, and then it's supposed to be 90 all week. So just kidding, false alarm. I think those are all the permanent ones. There were some other limited editions, like Spellbound was close in kind of like the consistency of Renaissance, but it was more the undertone of Black Cherry. So it's gonna be not really close either, but like, are those not beautiful? Oh my gosh, this is like the perfect mix, I feel like. Or if you don't like glosses, you guys know I like glosses, but oh my gosh. All right, enough talking. Let's put her on, shall we? So I already got a little bit of bronzer contour done. Let's just start slow. Oh my gosh, it doesn't, it doesn't take much, people. It doesn't take much. I thought it was, I forgot. Okay, this is not sheer. I'm so used to the glosses that are like this dark and deep that aren't as pigmented, and you have to build them up for color. Holy moly. One dab will do ya. Is that not pretty? And you see, it's a very subtle glow, like just enough to make your mature skin like mine look a little bit more youthful when it's got that hydration factor look. I love it. Okay, one dab again. My gosh. When you can do your cheeks with one dab, I'm telling you, maybe I didn't need a backup. This is gonna last me forever. And the semi-glosses just don't dry out like the mattes do, in my opinion. Oh my gosh, that color is everything. I don't even feel like it screams fall. Like this in the 10 does, but on the face, it just looks like I would wear this year round for sure. On the lips might be different. Let's see. I'm gonna pull out a cool contour since this is a little bit warmer. Kind of give my lips more of a shadow, and so it doesn't pull too brown, if that makes sense. Sometimes the lip liner will pull a little bit brown with a warm tone. So I'm gonna pull out Astoria. Sometimes I even use, if I was gonna put this on like really pigmented and like bold, I would use Indigo. It is my go-to for a deep, dark lip, but I'm gonna try to keep this natural-esque. Okay, and since it was already way more pigmented than I expected, we're gonna use our finger. And we're just gonna tap, tap, and tap on. Oh, I love this in my gloss. They're not nearly as dry. To me, a semi-gloss is the best of both worlds. You get a little glow. Your lips don't look dried out. Your cheeks get that look of glow. It's just way easier to build up or not. Now, I have a feeling with this color on my eyes, it's gonna be a little dramatic. So I'm gonna just kind of use the other shade to kind of tone this down. So Angel is one of my fave illuminators. It's just this beautiful pale pink shimmer, but like it's just such a wearable pink because it's not like pink, like you don't see just pink, but I love it over other colors to kind of just add a little bit of sheen, and that pink kind of just tones it down a little bit. You see that? Isn't that pretty? And you can add a little bit just on your Cupid's bow as well. But I'm just gonna go ahead and put that on. as my illuminator. And even on darker skin tones, I feel like it shows up a little bit more on darker skin tones because it's got a pretty light reflection, you know, it's a lighter toned reflection. But this is my go-to for anyone fairer skin, but I love this color as well. It actually stands out more than like the darker tones that I usually wear. So this would be a little bit more dramatic on someone like me, actually. Let's see, I'm gonna add some lip oil over this just because I feel like I need a little bit more glow. And I'll be honest, I've been putting this over everything. Like, I love a glossy lip. All right, so that is the foster care collection. Proceeds go to foster care to a specific charity actually in Atlanta, which is where our conference is being hosted. Oh man, less than a month now we will be in Atlanta. So Fig is limited edition. So if you want her for fall or winter, snag her now. I don't know if she'll be back. Now that we've gotten our face done, we can finish eyeshadows. Guys, Ring. If only other of our like shimmer formulations were done so well. You guys know I'm always harping on all of our shimmers are not the same. Some of them are chunky, some of them give fallout, some of them make my mature eyes look 100 years old. If they were all like this, I would be happy. Like buttery, I don't know how else to describe it, finely milled shimmer. Look at that. Like so buttery, no fallout, high metallicity, like what do I call that? I don't even know. The metallicness is next level, but yet done. Like, I feel like the chunkier shimmers, the ones I say if you have mature eyes and you don't like increasing the look of texture, steer clear of. But like this one, those always were very foiled to me. Like very metallic-y, like high shine shimmer. This one is like more so, yet does not show texture because of like how finely milled this shimmer is. I don't know how they did it. If Seint's listening, please make more like this, please. So this is Ring. It's the September shade of the month. I'm just gonna attempt to do all these on the same arm. Look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful. If you like cooler tones, she's cool. So this one, to be honest, my first impression of it, when I first swatched it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a more silver, pewter version of Fin, which is one of my favorite colors that I keep in my personal palette. It is a fine shimmer like Fin, and this one is my go-to for like a bronze smoky eye, but like this one is, well, let's just put it next to each other. It's a lot darker, but do you see the like shimmer quality of the two? Like this one's darker, so obviously it's not as metallic and shimmery looking because dark absorbs light, doesn't reflect as much. So since this one's a little bit lighter, it does reflect a little bit more, but do you see that? Like, oh, those two would look beautiful together. So Fin, Ring, very similar shimmers of both of these in my opinion, but really not the same tone at all. So let's see what we have in that kind of category. The other one I thought of was Stardust, and for the longest time, Stardust and Fin were like my go-tos if you wanted neutral, if you wanted a shimmer, because these are just like the most beautiful shimmers. So see how like smooth that is? So beautiful. So Stardust to me is a taupe shimmer. I always described it as taupe. And I feel like it looks kind of similar in the 10, but you can kind of tell the tone difference. This one's much more gunmetal, pewter, and this one is much lighter in comparison. Okay, then we have Rigoletto, which again looks very similar. This one I don't feel like has the same type of shimmer. This one actually reflects a little bit less light in my opinion and has less shimmer in it. So you can kind of tell when compared with Finn how this one's got like that golden shimmer. I think it's just because the shimmer in Rigoletto is like the same tone as the pigment, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't have, I'm getting this all over myself. It just doesn't reflect as much, even though they're both very dark, very similar in tone. This one has more of that bronzy gold shimmer in it, and this one just is more of a sheen. I used to think Rigoletto was very gray, but I feel like the longer I study our shadows, the more I realize it does have a little bit of warmth in it. Yes, it is more cool than Finn, but I think mostly because that Finn has that gold shimmer. Gold is obviously warm. And then we have Junior Prom, which is very cool as well, but more on the dark, like black with cool shimmer. I feel like I can't describe these today. You see that? It's like almost black, but then it's got that silver shimmer in it. So still very cool. This would be probably the coolest, then this, and then you get into more of the warmer metallics. Trying to find anything else that is even somewhat close. I feel like Snowbird is similar to Finn, but again, it's not really that close because it is very warm. Do you see that? Here's Finn. It's like a lighter version of Finn. It's more of like a brown metallic. And then for a cool, more chunky shimmer, to be honest, we have Venus, but it is, see how blinding that is? Do you see how chunky? Like it just like fell out all over my desk. So this is Venus. It has more of like a little bit of lavender undertones, way lighter though than Ring. And another gray one that is very deceiving on the website would be Everest. Again, it's shown as a shimmer, but this is the one that's got very, very fine shimmer. Does not swatch at all like that, and almost swatches more like a matte. Like, do you see the itty bitty little shimmers in there? You almost have to like really build it up. Okay, but if you compare that, how much lighter that is than Ring. So truly, when I say that there's nothing else like Ring, there's not. And the tone of this is absolutely gorgeous, especially if you're gonna do a smoky eye. So we're just gonna play with it and we're gonna see what we can get. In case I'm asked, we got Gigi and Bend and Snap. Now these are purples, but sometimes they're purple. I mean, they're cool though. So when we're talking that Ring, it's like the cool tones are the most similar. We just don't have a lot of gray based shadows, to be honest. And so we just had the Shade of the Month Waltz, which was one of the other only like very cool shades in my opinion, but that one was a matte. So to have a really cool, very shimmery shadow, you can tell we really didn't have anything like. I would consider Ring a 3-5 in my category system, which means you can wear it really lightly on the lid to get like a medium tone shimmer, and then you could build it up and really get a deeper tone. You can tell that this was just like a single swatch. You could definitely get in there and build it up to get more of like a deep metallic smoky look. And it's a 3-5 because 4s are mattes only. And this is definitely not a matte. So let's see what kind of look we can create with this shade. Now, obviously 3-5s, I consider those like a lid shade. Obviously you could just use it along the lash line. 5s make great liners. If you really to build it up or put this over a black liner to set it, it would be really beautiful and metallic. I'm gonna use it as a lid color, and we're gonna see what we can come up with. Now, since this is very cool, I know I'm gonna have to pair it with some warmth because I am a very warm person. I'm just gonna show you what it looks like. Let's just do lightly on the lid first so you can kind of see what a wash of this color. So when I do a wash, I take the eyeshadow brush and kind of just run it over, and then I'm just gonna lightly wash it over the lid. Now, this is a color that I feel like works best when you pick it up with your finger. Otherwise, you can kind of tell. Like, you're gonna get a little bit of that kind of pewter shimmer, but if you really want to be able to see the metallicness of this, I recommend your finger or like the multitasker and pack it on, or even packing it on with a glitter primer. So in comparison, using your finger and then putting it on, it's a big difference. Okay, there you go. Now you can tell, especially compared to what I'm wearing, the rest of my face, how almost blue it looks because it is so cool toned compared to my undertone. And that tells me, granted, I tend to always pair my cool tones with warmer tones. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pick up Sedona, which is kind of my ride or die warm tone for in my crease. And we're just gonna pull that up into and over my crease to offer balance and to open up my eye. Same thing, a little bit under my eye. And you can probably tell just like the dramatic difference that makes with balancing this color with the rest of my tones by just adding a little bit of warmth with it, because I just can't help myself. I feel like with this blush and this shirt, I'm gonna use a little bit of Claire just to kind of open my eye up right above that Sedona. And I could have used a cool tone probably in my crease, like oak, and then this color, and it would have given me also the warmth I needed for balance as another option. Okay, and with this dark of an eye look, I most definitely need some depth along my lash line. Going with my OG Kat Von D ink liner, and I'm gonna add some definition along the upper lash line only. I'm just gonna add a touch of both another warm and cool tone to kind of like balance the overall look. I'm gonna take a little bit of, I think Cocoa or Revival would work, but I'm gonna take a little bit of Revival in the outer corner just to kind of add a little bit of depth and then blend. Not much at all. Just kind of tap it in once or twice. And blending with that other end. I feel like I had like a hole right here. Okay, and if needing a little bit more blending, I'm going to go back into Claire. To blend that out. Then I'm going to set my liner with a cool tone, which my favorite is Coal, which is a dark charcoal, and it is my favorite for liner when I want deep and dark, but not black. I actually rarely ever wear black powder. I always use black as my depth, my liquid, and then I put a powder over it to make it less harsh. And Coal is my favorite. And it smokes it out a little bit because I feel like this shadow just looks so good. A little smoked. It's like the perfect smoky eye. This would look so beautiful as like a full smoky eye and like black, wearing black with it. Okay, and always taking a little bit of that on the outer corner. Using my little baby eyeshadow switcher. I love this size. It takes up less room. I added another eyeshadow. Actually, I added the liner. I haven't had that in my palette in a while. So then I'm just gonna go in with any highlight shade. I'm using Drift. You could even use your illuminator with mascara always. Okay, friends, there you go. That was my full eyeshadow palette using Ring. Maybe not expected to pair with those shades, but I feel like, oh, I love a good, cool, warm, balancing moment. They are my favorite looks, if you couldn't tell. And I feel like this color is so good in so many different ways, but I was feeling it like this for this lip and cheek. Oh, guys. I mean, some people probably would not pair that with this, but I'm telling you, so good, right? I hope that was helpful in kind of going over the new Foster Care collection. Remember, the last day that will be available is September 8th. And then also Ring and all the comparisons. This baby will be available the month of September as supplies last. As always, I am here if you need an eyeshadow match. My match will be down in the description box under the video. I will also pin it, as well as color match requests. I am doing them every single day, as always. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.